Why don't you talk to your mom anymore? I placed mom's old prom queen tiara on her head the day after dad left us to move in with his secretary. She cried while we looked through her prom photo album, whispering, I was so happy then. Everyone loved me. Dad had sucked the joy and life out of her over the years with his lies and abuse, and I desperately wanted to see her smile again. I pulled out the reunion invitation that was buried in the mail and showed her, saying, you can go back to that time, Mom. You can be queen again. Mom threw herself into reunion prep with frightening focus. She lived on bread and eggs for 2 months, losing 15 pounds to fit into her old prom dress. She got her hair and nails done, immediately looking 20 years younger, and I wasn't the only one to notice. Young men started constantly approaching her, begging for one dinner date, but she refused, making them long for her even more. That's how it was back then, she winked. At home, she practiced smiling in the mirror, showing me how each angle made a difference. You look pretty, Mom, I said. She hugged me. The queen is almost back. But then she started mixing in lies to her comeback story. She made a LinkedIn profile claiming to own a small business, when in reality, her Etsy shop only ever sold 3 candles. She built a whole website for her fake company with stock photos of employees and testimonials she wrote herself, explaining to me how every queen needs a castle. She photoshopped herself visiting other countries, refilling her Instagram with fake travel goals. She even took over my own account to make her story consistent. When she hired an actor to play as her new husband, even instructing him to call me Pumpkin, like Dad used to as a kid, I wanted to throw up. The whole thing made me feel uncomfortable. Mom, this might actually be insane. She grabbed my shoulders, forcing a smile. Just let me do this, okay? You'll understand when you're older. I bit my lip and asked, aren't you afraid of what happens when you get caught? You told me lying wasn't good. She smoothed my hair like I was 5. Adults lie all the time. Look at your father. Just play your role and no one will ever know. I stared at her, still worried. She kissed my forehead and said gently, come on, a queen needs her princess. I nodded slowly, but my brain screamed no. The moment we walked into the reunion, someone grabbed Mom's arm. Leah, perfect timing. Come to the stage. Before we could react, they led her up front where a golden trophy and new tiara waited. For the most successful graduate, class of 2005. The spotlight hit her face as everyone applauded. I took a seat in the back, unable to hide my smile. Mom's so beautiful, I thought, all the anxiety I felt before completely leaving my body. Mom's practiced smile appeared as tears rolled down her cheeks. She clutched the trophy and leaned into the microphone. Thank you so much for this. I have no idea what to say. But when I started my consulting firm 10 years ago, what firm? Someone yelled. Giggles erupted from the back. I turned my head side to side, looking for the source. Mom cleared her throat before continuing. I'd like to thank my wonderful husband and my daughter. More laughter broke out into the crowd. That's not even her husband, a voice called out. Mom squinted against the light, still smiling. Leah, why don't you tell them the truth? Her old friend Janet called out. The spotlight moved away to focus on her. Tell them about your business, the real one. Mom let out an anxious laugh, shaking her head slowly. I don't know what you're talking about. Janet raised an eyebrow, smirk clear on her face. Oh, what about Harold? The hired husband chose that moment to stumble on stage and slur. Wait, am I supposed to be Harold or Richard? I watched Mom's breathing grow harder, chest rising and falling in a panic as the room erupted. The crowd shouted profanity, booing while Mom stood frozen. Give back the trophy, you fraud. You're so pathetic. Then, everything fell apart in an instant. She jumped off the stage and charged at Janet, raising the trophy high. The golden figure came down on Janet's head twice before she fell on the ground, trying to use her hands to cover. Mom swung again and again, screaming, I am your queen. I embody success. People panicked, scrambling for the exits. Tables flipped the decorative candles across the floor, catching the old curtains, the paper decorations, the tablecloths on fire. I tried grabbing at Mom, begging her to stop and to run away, but the stampede swept me outside. When I turned back, I saw her through gaps in the exit. Mom stood in the middle of the flames with a bloody trophy cradled in her arms like a baby, dancing and twirling in her old prom dress as the fire climbed the walls around her. Mom, get out! I cried out, unable to run back in. Mom, please! But she just kept dancing, crown glinting in the firelight, lost in some memory of when she was 18 and everyone loved her. 4 died in the fire, including Janet. Mom lived somehow, 3rd-degree burns covering 80% of her body. Bits of the melted crown remained in her skull. At the trial, she sat wrapped in bandages, clutching a replica trophy they couldn't pry from her hands. When the judge read the life sentence, she rasped through destroyed lips the last words I'd ever hear from her again. The queen never loses.